Before we begin the story, let us know where you're watching from by leaving a comment below. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the story, everyone. "Emma, there's a monster here," Mia screamed, and in a desperate impulse for survival or maybe sheer embarrassment, she jumped into the lap of the first customer sitting nearby. That isn't a normal cockroach. It's a mutant. Everyone followed her gaze, and there it was. A small, harmless cockroach. Bold antennas waving. It walked across the floor with the confidence of someone who paid the rent for the place. The man who had been holding a cup of coffee was now holding Mia literally in his lap. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's just, it had wings. I swear it spread its wings, and it was huge." The man, elegant, only raised an eyebrow. "It's all right," he said with a calm smile. "Do you usually do this with all the customers, or am I today's lucky one?" "Only with the ones who look like they won't scream louder than me," Mia replied, still clinging to his neck as if it were her lifeboat. "And, sorry. Am I shaking? Or is it you? I think it's both of us, but I promise it's not because of the roach." For a second, their eyes met. A silence appeared in the middle of the chaos. Then someone shouted, "It's climbing on the sugar. Help! It's heading for the butter." "Why is this happening today of all days?" cried the cook, sticking her head out of the kitchen window. Still in the stranger's lap, Mia pointed. "It's going for the croissant. Someone kill it." "I can try," said the man with a hint of amusement, gently setting Mia down on the floor. He picked up a newspaper from the table, stood up with a calmness that irritated everyone, and smacked silence. Everyone looked at him as if he had just saved the city from an apocalypse. "There, the threat has been neutralized," he said, looking at Mia. "Wow." She blinked. "You just won over half the female customers. And I hope I didn't lose the other half for smashing a bug in public." Mia laughed, still red with embarrassment. "I'm really sorry for all of this. I don't usually jump into strangers' laps." "That's a shame," he smiled, "because this was the best coffee I've had in years." She blushed even more. "What's your name?" he asked before finishing his last sip of coffee. Mia Lopez." "Nice to meet you, Mia." He didn't say anything else, not even his name. He didn't leave a card. He just smiled, placed some bills on the table, and walked calmly, as if he hadn't just been attacked by a panicked waitress. Mia stood still, watching the door swing after he left. "What was that?" exclaimed her coworker at the counter. Sophia, her eyes wide open. "You jumped on the most handsome guy who's ever walked in here." "I jumped because he was in the roach's path." "Sophia, not because of strategy, but it looked like a Netflix rom-com scene, and I look like a complete lunatic," Mia muttered, still trying to fix her hair with her fingers. "He must think I'm a clinical case." "Are you kidding?" He left smiling. "I bet he'll be back tomorrow." Mia let out a deep sigh and went back to work, trying to pretend her heart wasn't beating faster. But every time she thought of his eyes brown, deep, with that ironic sparkle, a little wave of anxiety stirred in her stomach. "Who could he be?" she murmured while arranging the glasses. Outside, the city buzzed, and in a luxury car parked discreetly at the corner, Ethan Parker, CEO of Parker Enterprises, slid his fingers across his phone screen. Opening Instagram, he typed, "Mia Lopez, Sunnyside Cafe. Let's see who you are, cockroach girl." He smiled, as if he had just discovered his new favorite pastime. The next morning, Mia arrived at work humming softly, still with the silly smile of someone who had experienced something special the day before. The mysterious man had occupied her thoughts all night, and she caught herself imagining if he would really come back. "Good morning, everyone," she greeted cheerfully, tying the apron around her waist. But the atmosphere in the cafe felt strange. Sophia looked at her with a worried expression, and the manager, Mr. Thompson, appeared almost immediately from the back office, his face stern. "Mia, I need to talk to you now." His harsh tone made Mia's stomach churn. She followed him into the small office, cluttered with boxes of supplies and scattered papers. "Sit down," he said, pointing to an old plastic chair. "Did something happen, Mr. Thompson?" "Yes, it did. I got 3 phone calls this morning. 3 customers complaining about your behavior yesterday." Mia felt the blood drain from her face. "My behavior? The cockroach incident?" "Mia," Mr. Thompson raised his voice. "You jumped onto a customer's lap. Imagine if he decided to sue the cafe. What if he felt harassed?" He didn't seem bothered. "It doesn't matter how he seemed. What matters is that 3 of our longest customers are offended. Mrs. Carter has been coming here for 15 years. Mia felt tears burning in her eyes, but tried to keep her composure. Mr. Thompson, I can apologize to them. I can explain it was a misunderstanding. Mia, you're a good employee, but I can't risk losing more customers over this. You're fired. The words hit her like a bucket of cold water. Fired because of a cockroach? Because of your inappropriate behavior in a professional situation. I'll pay you for today, but I need you to gather your things. Mia stayed silent for a few seconds, trying to process what was happening. The job at Sunnyside Cafe wasn't a dream job, but it paid her bills. Without it, she wouldn't be able to cover the rent on the small apartment she shared with Ava, her college roommate. Mr. Thompson, I need this job. I'll do anything to make up for it. I'll work for free this weekend, clean the entire cafe, anything. The decision has been made. Mia, I'm sorry. She stood up on shaky legs, trying to keep her dignity. All right, I'll get my things. Back at the counter, Sophia rushed to her. What did he say? By the look on your face. It wasn't good news. I was fired, Mia whispered, grabbing her things from the staff locker. Because of the cockroach? That's ridiculous. Because of the customers who complained about the embarrassing scene yesterday? Sophia shook her head, outraged. Mrs. Carter complains about everything, even the color of the sky. And Mr. Jenkins never leaves a tip. Anyway, this is unfair. Mia. Life goes on. Mia sighed, stuffing the last item into her bag. I need to get out of here before I start crying in front of everyone. She gave her friend a quick hug and left the cafe through the back door, feeling the eyes of the other employees on her. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Mia spent hours on her laptop, sending out resumes to every place she could find, but the feeling of despair only grew stronger. The little money she had saved might cover one more month of rent. Maybe 2 hours after Mia had left, a familiar figure walked into Sunnyside Cafe. Ethan looked around, searching for the dark-haired waitress who had made his previous day far more interesting. Excuse me, he called to the new waiter, a thin young man of about 20. Is Mia working today? Mia? Oh, you didn't hear? She was fired this morning. Ethan frowned. Fired? Why? Because of that cockroach mess yesterday. Some customers complained, and the boss thought it best to let her go. Ethan felt a pang of guilt. If he hadn't been there, none of it would have happened. Do you have her phone number? I'd like to check if she's all right. The young man hesitated. Look, I can't give out personal information about employees, ex-employees, but you're the guy who killed the cockroach, right? Mia mentioned you. Mentioned what? That you were kind to her, and that she felt embarrassed about the whole thing. Ethan pulled a $50 bill from his wallet. Her number would be very helpful. I just want to make sure she wasn't harmed by something that happened while I was there. The young man looked at the bill, then at Ethan, and quickly scribbled Mia's number on a napkin. Thank you, Ethan said, leaving the cafe with a new mission in mind. 2 days went by. Mia had turned job hunting into an obsession, sending resumes to restaurants, stores, offices anywhere that was hiring. Ava tried to cheer her up, but Mia was clearly starting to panic. Maybe you should call your mom, Ava suggested, stirring instant noodles on the stove. To hear I told you so, you should have studied accounting? No, thank you. The phone rang. Mia looked at the unknown number with suspicion. Hello, Mia Lopez. A professional-sounding female voice answered. Yes, that's me. My name is Rachel Bennett, from the Human Resources Department at Parker Enterprises. We're offering an administrative assistant position, and your profile caught our attention. Mia blinked, confused. Parker Enterprises? I don't remember sending a resume to you. Sometimes we receive resumes through referrals from other departments. The position offers a starting salary of $4,500 a month, full health coverage, meal allowance, and performance bonuses. Mia almost dropped the phone. $4,500 was 3 times what she earned at the cafe. Is this real? Completely real. Would you be interested in an interview tomorrow at 2:00 the afternoon? Yes. I mean, of course, that would be great. Perfect. The address is 12200 Biscayne Boulevard, 30th floor. Ask for Rachel Bennett at the reception desk. After she hung up, Mia stood still for a full minute, trying to process what had just happened. Ava, she shouted, you won't believe this. That evening, Mia searched everything she could about Parker Enterprises online. It was a huge company with offices in several cities, specializing in investments and urban development. The CEO was Ethan Parker, considered one of the youngest and most successful businessmen in the country. Wow, this company is massive, she murmured, scrolling through the official website. How did they even get my resume? But soon anxiety took over. It was an amazing opportunity, but also frightening. She picked out her best business outfit, a black skirt and blazer she had bought for college graduations, and spent the whole night practicing possible answers for interview questions. Tomorrow, everything will work out, she whispered to herself, looking at her reflection in the mirror. It has to. The next day, Mia stopped in front of the Parker Enterprises building. It was a gleaming glass tower that seemed to touch the clouds, with a lobby that looked more like a five-star hotel. My goodness, she murmured, adjusting the bag on her shoulder. What am I doing here? The receptionist, an elegant woman of about 40, greeted her with a professional smile. Mia Lopez? Rachel Bennett is expecting you. The elevator was so quiet that Mia didn't even notice when it reached the 15th floor. Rachel welcomed her warmly and gave her a quick tour of the marketing department. This will be your workstation, Rachel said, pointing to a modern desk with a state-of-the-art computer. You'll be supporting the advertising campaign team reports, market research, organizing presentations. Mia tried not to look too impressed, but it was hard. The entire Sunnyside Cafe could fit on that floor. Everyone here is very qualified, Rachel continued, but I'm sure you'll adjust well. 2 hours later, Mia was trying to understand the company's filing system when she decided to go to the break room for some coffee. In the hallway, she almost bumped into a man carrying a large box. Excuse me, she said quickly, stepping aside. The man turned, and Mia felt her heart skip a beat. You, she exclaimed, pointing at him. The guy with the cockroach? Ethan smiled, trying not to drop the box. Hi, Mia. What a crazy coincidence. You work here? I've been working here for a few years, he answered, adjusting the box in his arms. Mia looked at the box. Oh, so you're the company's box carrier? She asked naturally. Ethan opened his mouth to reply, then closed it. For a split second, he thought about telling her who he really was. It would be so easy, but looking at Mia, he saw something in her eyes that made him hesitate. She was looking at him as a regular person, not as the CEO of Parker Enterprises, not as a financial target, just as the kind man who had killed a cockroach for her. Yeah, something like that. Box carrier, organizer of things, just a simple employee, he said, smiling. That's nice. I just started today. Marketing assistant. Congratulations on the new job. Thank you. And thank you again for yesterday or the day before. You saved my life from that mutant creature. It was my pleasure, literally. They stood there for a moment, smiling at each other, until Mia remembered where she was. Well, I should get back to work. First day, you know how it is. Of course. See you around. When Mia walked away, Ethan stayed in the hallway, watching her disappear. Then he looked at the box in his hands, which actually contained confidential documents he was taking to his office, and chuckled softly. Box carrier? Why not? That night, Ethan called his personal assistant. James, I need a favor. I want you to find an empty workstation on the 15th floor, somewhere I can show up from time to time. Sir, I don't understand. Let's just say I'm doing some field research on the employee's work environment, field research involving a disguise. Something like that. James sighed on the other end of the line. I'll arrange a temporary desk in the supplies department. It's close to marketing. Perfect. During the following week, Ethan built an entire routine. He arrived early, went up to his office on the 30th floor to deal with urgent matters, then came down to the 15th floor and stayed there, carrying boxes, organizing supplies and watching Mia from a distance. She was amazing. In just 5 days, she had already optimized the team's filing system and suggested improvements for campaign organization. Everyone liked her. She was funny, smart, and worked with impressive dedication. On Friday, during the coffee break, Mia was in the break room chatting with 2 colleagues. Ladies, I have a question, Mia said, stirring sugar into her coffee. Have you ever seen the CEO in person? Ethan Parker? Asked Emily from the design team. A few times, from far away. He lives on the 30th floor. What's he like? Mia asked, genuinely curious. He's probably handsome, answered Clara from planning. Distant, too. Rich since childhood. You know how it is. Probably one of those arrogant businessmen, Mia commented, taking a sip of coffee. I bet he doesn't even know how much a coffee costs at the supermarket. Ethan, who was filling a water bottle right behind her, nearly choked. He's probably full of himself, Mia continued. These young CEOs are always like that. They think they own the world just because they inherited their dad's company. Actually, Emily said quietly, I heard he built the company on his own. Oh sure. With a little help from a few million from his parents, right? Mia laughed. I can't stand people who think they did everything by themselves when they were born into luxury. Ethan closed the bottle of water and slowly turned around. Hi, everyone, he greeted, trying to keep his voice casual. Hi, Ethan. Mia smiled at him. I was just talking about our invisible boss. Have you ever had the honor of meeting His Majesty? Once or twice, Ethan replied, amused by the situation. He's interesting. Translation. Boring as can be, Mia laughed. I bet he's the type who schedules 15-minute meetings just to show power. Ethan had to bite his lip not to laugh. He actually did have a 15-minute meeting scheduled for that afternoon. Maybe you'd be surprised if you got to know him better, Ethan suggested. I doubt it. Mia shook her head. People like that live in a bubble. They have no idea what real life is like. That afternoon, Ethan was in his office, getting ready for the executive meeting, when James came in. Sir, the marketing team will be upstairs for the meeting in 5 minutes. Ethan stopped adjusting his tie. The marketing team? All of them? Quarterly presentation? Rachel included the new assistant so they can see how the process works. Will Mia be at the meeting? Miss Lopez? I believe so. Ethan looked through the glass wall into the meeting room. There was no way she wouldn't recognize him there. James, he said quickly, tell them I was called to an urgent call. Have the meeting without me, and send me the report by email. Sir, just do it, please. James shook his head but went out to tell the team. Ethan stayed hidden in his office, watching through the crack of the door as Mia and the others entered the meeting room. 2 hours later, he ran into Mia again in the break room. So, how was your first executive meeting? He asked, pretending casual curiosity. Oh, the almighty CEO didn't even show up. Mia laughed. Must have been too busy counting money or whatever rich people do. Maybe he had something really important to deal with. More important than meeting the team. I doubt it. Mia shook her head. You know what? I'm just going to focus on my work and forget the boss exists. It's easier that way. Good strategy, Ethan agreed, smiling. Want to have lunch with me tomorrow? Mia asked suddenly, then blushed. I mean, if you don't already have plans. It's just... You're the only normal person I've met here. Ethan felt his heart race. Of course, that would be great. When Mia left, Ethan stood in the break room, smiling like a teenager. He was caught in a complicated situation, but for the first time in years, he felt truly happy at work. So, where do you want to have lunch? Ethan asked, as they walked down a busy street in Miami. How about that food truck over there? Mia pointed to a colorful trailer with a long line. It smells amazing. Ethan looked at the food truck, then at Mia. For the last 5 years, his lunches had always been in 5-star restaurants with ocean views, but her excitement was contagious. Food truck works perfectly, he said, smiling. While they waited in line, Mia noticed a group of well-dressed executives walking into an expensive restaurant across the street. Look at those guys, she said, shaking her head. I bet they've never eaten a hot dog in their lives. Probably the type who order imported sparkling water and think that makes them sophisticated. Ethan almost choked on his own saliva. Just last week, he had literally ordered imported sparkling water at a business meeting. Do you have something against successful people? He asked, trying to sound casual. Not against success, against arrogance. Mia laughed. My grandmother always said, Honey, you can have money, but if you forget where you came from, you've just become a rich fool. She was wise. Your grandmother sounds like an interesting woman. She was the best. She practically raised me on her own after my parents died. She cleaned houses for wealthy people and always came back with hilarious stories about how out of touch they were. Ethan felt a pang in his chest. How many people like Mia's grandmother had worked in his own home over the years? He didn't even know their names. What do you mean, out of touch? Oh, she told plenty of stories. Mia laughed, animated. Like the lady who called in a panic because she didn't know how to turn on the washing machine, or the man who asked if bananas grew on trees. Once, a socialite even asked my grandmother how much a regular loaf of bread from the market cost because she wanted to understand how poor people live. That can't be true, Ethan said, though inwardly he made a mental note to find out the price of bread. I swear to God. And the worst part is they thought they were being nice. Mia mimicked an exaggerated voice. Oh, how interesting. Poor people are so creative. Ethan laughed, but it was a bit nervous. In the weeks that followed, they began meeting regularly after work. Ethan discovered a Miami he had never seen before. Public parks where families had picnics, neighborhood theaters that showed old movies, beaches where people played guitar at sunset. You're different from the other guys I've met. Mia said one afternoon as they walked through Bayfront Park. "Most of them try to impress by taking me to expensive places. You seem to enjoy simple things." If only she knew he had canceled a meeting with Japanese investors to watch a romantic comedy with her. "Simple things can be the best," Ethan replied. And he realized he truly believed it. At work, the situation was becoming almost comical. Mia had become the unofficial critic of the invisible CEO. "Guys, did you hear this?" she said during a break, holding up a printed email. "He sent a note about human resources optimization. Who even talks like that? Why not just say, 'Let's work better'?" Ethan, who was organizing supplies nearby, almost dropped a box of staplers. He had spent 20 minutes that morning writing that note. "Maybe he just wants to sound professional," suggested Emily. "Professional? That's pretentious," Mia laughed. "I bet he has an assistant whose only job is to choose fancy words for him. Good morning, Mr. Parker. Would you like to use implement, optimize, or restructure in today's emails?" Ethan pretended to be very focused on organizing paper clips. "And another thing," Mia went on, excited. He switched the office coffee to a premium organic brand. Who cares about organic coffee? Coffee is coffee. But of course, His Majesty can't drink regular coffee like us, mere mortals. In reality, Ethan had switched the coffee after hearing Mia complain that the old one was terrible. But he couldn't admit that. "Maybe he just wanted you all to have better coffee," Ethan murmured. "Oh, sure." Mia laughed loudly. "Next thing will be imported water from France." Ethan swallowed hard. On Thursday, during sunset at South Beach, they were walking barefoot on the sand, Mia talking about her dream of starting a small consulting business. "Do you know what my biggest fear is?" she said, stopping to look at the horizon. "Becoming one of those people who forget where they came from, who stop seeing beauty in simple things." Ethan looked at her hair tousled by the wind, a simple dress, eyes shining with the dream she carried, and realized he was completely in love. "You would never be like that," he said, touching her face. "How do you know?" "Because you have something money can't buy. Authenticity." That's when it happened. A soft, sweet kiss, tasting of the coconut ice cream they had shared, and carrying the flavor of endless possibilities. "Mia," Ethan said, his forehead still against hers, "will you be my girlfriend, officially?" "Of course. Silly. I've been waiting for you to ask for weeks." The next day, Ethan arrived at the office feeling like he was floating. James found him signing documents with a silly smile on his face. "Sir, the third quarter financial report." "James, do you know how much a regular loaf of bread costs at the supermarket?" "Sir, and do you know how much someone working at a cafe actually makes?" "The real minimum wage, not the numbers we see in reports." James blinked a few times. "I can look that up for you, sir." "Do that. And I also want a report on benefits for entry-level employees, health coverage, meal allowance. Those things." In the following weeks, employees at Parker Enterprises started noticing strange changes. The CEO had approved an increase in the meal allowance, improved the health plan, and created a suggestion program where any employee could propose improvements for the company. "Wow, what a strange change," Mia commented during lunch. "Did our ghost CEO hit his head and turn into a nice guy?" "Maybe he's evolving," Ethan suggested. "Or maybe he hired a human relations consultant because someone told him he was a terrible boss." Ironically, Mia was standing out more and more at work. Her ideas for campaigns were creative and effective, and she had proposed a restructuring of the customer service system that could save the company thousands of dollars. Rachel approached Ethan, who was in box carrier mode in the hallway. "Ethan, you know Mia pretty well, right?" "A little." "Why? She's amazing, efficient, creative, dedicated. I'm thinking about recommending her for a promotion." Ethan felt a mix of pride and panic. "What kind of promotion?" "Special projects coordinator. Much better salary, and she deserves it." "That's great," Ethan said, but inside, he was calculating how to justify such a fast promotion without raising suspicions. That night, over dinner at a small Mexican restaurant Mia loved, she was excitedly telling him about her day. "Ethan, I think I might get a promotion." Rachel said, "My project caught the attention of the directors." "That's wonderful. You deserve it. It feels kind of surreal, you know. A month ago, I was serving coffee, and now I'm creating campaigns that could be on television." Ethan smiled, but part of him was panicking. How long could he keep up this act? And when he told her the truth, would Mia forgive him? "Mia," he said hesitantly, "what if you found out that someone close to you hadn't been completely honest about certain things?" "What kind of things?" "Hypothetically, Let's say about work or financial situation. Mia stopped eating. Are you hiding something from me, Ethan? Ethan looked into her eyes and almost told her everything. Almost. No. He lied. Just a philosophical curiosity. Well, Mia said, going back to her meal. Honesty is the foundation of any relationship. If someone lied about something important, I'd be hurt. But depending on the reason, maybe I could forgive it. And if it was a big lie, how big? Ethan swallowed hard. Really big? Mia looked at him seriously. Ethan, big lies usually destroy relationships. The person would need a very good reason and a very sincere apology. That night, Ethan stayed up late, watching Mia sleep beside him in her small apartment. He was living the most complicated double life in history. Billionaire by day, employee's boyfriend by night. And for the first time in his life, he didn't know which of the two identities was the real one. The next day, Ethan called Mia over and handed her a golden invitation, a charity gala. Mia's eyes widened as she held the invitation. Ethan, this looks like something out of a movie. The company always participates in these events, Ethan explained, trying to sound casual while inside he was as nervous as a teenager on a first date. I thought it would be nice if you came with me. But just look at this, Mia laughed, reading the invitation. Annual Miami Elite Charity Gala. Elite? Ethan? I don't even know how to hold a champagne glass properly. You're going to look beautiful. And champagne is just a drink with fancy bubbles, easy for you to say. Don't tell me you go to these events all the time. Ethan almost choked. No, not exactly all the time. In fact, he had organized half of those events. But that was a detail Mia didn't need to know yet. Later, at her apartment, Mia was nervous. I need to buy a dress. Mia jumped off the couch. Ava, she shouted to her roommate. Fashion emergency. While Mia was getting ready for the event, Ethan was at his apartment, on the phone with James, executing the craziest plan of his business career. James, did you get that right? Call everyone who's going to be at the gala, investors, partners, suppliers, everyone. And what exactly should I say, sir? That I'm running a social experiment. During the party, no one should recognize me as the CEO. I'm just Ethan, a regular employee. Sir, this is crazy. I know, but it's important. And if someone refuses to go along with it, tell them it's a matter of extreme personal importance to me. And James? Yes, sir. If anyone ruins this, I'll move all their meetings to Monday at 6. 0 inches the morning for the next 6 months. On Saturday night, Mia looked radiant in a dark blue dress she had found on clearance, which by chance made her look absolutely stunning. Ethan, used to seeing women covered in expensive jewelry at events like this, thought he had never seen anyone more beautiful. Are you sure I won't embarrass you? Mia asked, nervously adjusting her hair as they entered the hotel ballroom. Impossible, Ethan replied, offering her his arm. The ballroom was filled with elegant people, decorated with exotic flowers and golden lights. Mia looked around with shining eyes. Wow. This is surreal. Look at that chandelier. It must cost more than my whole apartment. Ethan smiled. He knew exactly how much that chandelier cost. He had personally approved the purchase. They were talking near the bar when an affected voice interrupted them. Ethan, darling. What a wonderful surprise. Ethan turned and saw Isabella Thornton approaching, wearing a red dress that probably cost more than Mia's annual salary. She was tall, blonde, with the kind of polished beauty that came from years of expensive treatments and personal trainers. Isabella, Ethan greeted, trying to stay composed. I just got back from the Hamptons. I was dying to see Miami again. And you, of course, she winked, then looked at Mia as if noticing her for the first time. And who is your companion? This is Mia, Ethan said. Mia. Isabella Thornton. Isabella extended her hand with a fake smile. Nice to meet you. Are you new to the social circle? Actually, I work at Parker Enterprises. Mia replied with a genuine smile. I'm an assistant in the marketing department. Isabella's smile grew even more forced. Oh, how interesting. Ethan has always been generous with new employees. Mia blinked, not quite catching the condescending tone, but Ethan noticed it immediately. Isabella, it's so sweet when successful people mingle with. Isabella paused theatrically. The operational staff. Some people are really born to serve, aren't they? The silence that followed was deafening. Mia turned red, but not from embarrassment, from anger. Excuse me, Mia said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Oh, darling, don't be offended, Isabella laughed. It's just the natural order of things. Everyone in their proper place, you know. Ethan felt his blood boil. Isabella, that was unnecessary and rude. Rude. Isabella blinked, pretending innocence. I was only being realistic. You know what's realistic? Mia stepped closer to Isabella, still smiling sweetly. Realistic is that at least I work to live instead of living off other people's work. And here's another reality. Your hair extensions are showing. Maybe you should change stylists. Isabella instinctively touched her hair, and Mia turned to Ethan. Ethan, how about we get a drink? The air here feels a little contaminated. They walked away, leaving Isabella speechless. Ethan was both impressed and completely smitten. Mia, you were incredible. People like that get on my nerves. Mia huffed. Who does she think she is? The Queen of England? Something like that, Ethan muttered. For the rest of the night, Isabella kept watching Ethan and Mia from a distance. Clearly bothered, she moved around to other guests, asking discreet questions about the employee who was with Ethan. On Monday, Mia was working when she saw Isabella walk into the office with Rachel. What is that viper doing here? She muttered to Emily. Isabella Thornton. She's from an important family. Sometimes she comes for high-level meetings. Mia watched Isabella greeting several people, clearly playing the part of someone important. When Isabella passed by her desk, she stopped. Mia, what a coincidence to find you. Working. That's what normal people do. Isabella. Work. Of course. And how's your friend Ethan? He's doing great, thank you. Good. You seem like a naive person. It's important to be careful with people's intentions, especially charming men. Mia frowned. What do you mean by that? Nothing specific. Isabella smiled her fake smile. Just a general comment about social compatibility. That afternoon, Mia looked for Ethan in the break room. Ethan, can I ask you a serious question? Of course. Have you told me everything about you? About your life, your family, those things? Ethan felt his stomach drop. Why do you ask? That snake, Isabella, told me some strange things about being careful with your intentions. Mia. Isabella is complicated. She doesn't like it when she's not the center of attention. My mother always told me something before she died. Mia leaned against the wall. She used to say, Mia, never let anyone make you feel small because of your money or social status. Your value is in here. She tapped her chest, not in the bank. Ethan felt a stab in his heart. Your mother was right. Then answer me honestly. Are you with me for the right reasons? Ethan looked into her eyes and saw so much trust, so much genuine love, that he almost confessed everything right then. Mia, He stopped, losing his courage. I'm with you, because you're the most authentic and amazing person I've ever met. Technically, it wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. Meanwhile, Isabella was at a private investigator's office, sliding a photo of Ethan and Mia across the desk. I want to know everything about these two, especially the nature of their relationship. Any specific suspicion? Let's just say I have a feeling not everything is what it seems. Isabella smiled wickedly. And when I find out what it is, it'll be interesting to see how little Mia reacts to the truth. The investigator picked up the photo. How soon do you need this? As soon as possible. I have a feeling I'm about to discover something very entertaining. Isabella left the office humming. Mia was organizing reports at her desk when Rachel rushed in, her urgent expression making Mia's stomach tighten. Mia, I need you to take these documents to the CEO right away. It's extremely urgent. To the CEO? Mia's eyes widened. But I don't even know where his office is. 30th floor. Last door in the hallway. Knock and go in. There's no time for formalities. The meeting with the Japanese investors cannot be delayed. Mia grabbed the folder with trembling hands. She was finally going to meet the famous Ethan Parker, the invisible man she had criticized so often. What am I wearing? She murmured, looking down. Oh my God. This blouse has a coffee stain. He'll think I'm sloppy. In the elevator, Mia tried to fix her hair using the reflection in the metal doors. All right, Mia, just hand over the papers. Say hello politely, and leave. No criticizing imported water or big words in emails. Be professional. The 30th floor was impressive, all glass, marble, and furniture that looked more expensive than a car. Mia walked down the hallway, trying not to make noise with her shoes. Last door, she whispered, stopping in front of a large, dark wooden door. She knocked lightly, but heard no response. Rachel had told her to go straight in, so Mia turned the handle and pushed the door open. Excuse me, Mr. Parker. I brought the documents. The words died in her throat. There, sitting at the head of a massive conference table, surrounded by executives in expensive suits, was Ethan, her Ethan, the box carrier, the simple employee who ate hot dogs and watched movies in a neighborhood theater, except he wasn't carrying boxes. He was clearly leading the meeting with a confident, authoritative posture Mia had never seen before. Mia. Ethan stood up immediately, his face pale with panic. I... Mia looked around the room, noticing all the executives staring at her. On the wall behind Ethan, a golden plaque read, Ethan Parker, CEO. The folder slipped from her hands, papers scattering across the floor like confetti at a party. This can't be, Mia whispered, shaking her head. Mia. Wait. I can explain, but she was already backing away, stumbling over her own feet. You're? She pointed to the plaque on the wall, then to him, then back to the plaque again, as if her mind refused to process it. Gentlemen, Ethan said to the executives without taking his eyes off Mia, let's postpone this meeting. But, sir, the Japanese investors, postpone the meeting, Ethan shouted, and Mia had never heard that tone of voice from him before. She ran. Mia ran through the hallways as if escaping a fire, not caring about the curious looks from employees. She kept running stairs, elevator, lobby, anything to get out. Mia. She heard Ethan calling after her, but she didn't stop. She reached the parking lot, breathless, her makeup smeared with tears, desperately searching for car keys in her bag. Where are these damn keys? She muttered, rummaging through her purse. Mia, please. She turned around. Ethan was standing a few feet away, still in his suit, tie undone, hair messy from running. Don't come near me, she said, her voice trembling. Let me explain. Explain? Mia shouted, her voice echoing through the parking lot. Explain what? That you lied about everything. That you deceived me all this time. I never wanted to hurt you. Never wanted to hurt me. Mia laughed, but it was a bitter laugh without joy. You made a fool of me, Ethan. Or should I call you Mr. Parker now? I'm still Ethan to you. I'm still the same man who... The same man? Mia was hysterical now. The same man who pretended to carry boxes. Who listened to me criticize his own boss and pretended to agree. Who took me out for hot dogs when you probably dine at restaurants that cost more than my salary? Ethan tried to get closer, but Mia stepped back. You used me, she said, her voice breaking. What was I? A pastime? A social experiment? The poor waitress you thought would be fun to date for a while? It was never that, Ethan shouted. I fell in love with you. Fell in love with me, or with the idea of me. Mia wiped her tears. Because you never gave me the chance to know the real you, Ethan. If that person even exists, he does. I'm the same man who gets nervous when you smile, who stays up all night thinking about you, who lies about who he is. Mia cut him off. Do you know how many times I criticized you to your face? How many times I said the CEO of Parker Enterprises must be a spoiled brat? And you just stood there, laughing at me. I wasn't laughing at you. Yes, you were. It must have been hilarious, the dumb employee criticizing the boss without knowing she was talking to him. Ethan took another step closer. Mia, when I met you at the cafe, I was tired of people who only wanted me for my money. You looked at me like a normal human being. It was freeing. So you decided to keep lying. I decided I wanted you to know me for real. Without the billions, without the power, just me. But you're not just you, Mia gestured desperately. You are the billions. You are the power. That's your life. And you hid it from me because you knew I would hate it. You wouldn't hate it. Yes, I would, Mia shouted. And you knew it. That's why you lied. A tense silence fell between them. Mia was shaking, partly from anger, partly from pain. Was any of what we had real? She asked in a small voice, or was it all an act? Ethan looked at her with such intensity that she almost believed him. It was all real. Every moment, every word, except the part where you told me who you really were. Mia shook her head. I can't trust you anymore, Ethan. I don't know what's true anymore. She finally found the keys in her bag. Mia, don't leave like this. There's nothing left to talk about. Yes, there is. We have a relationship. Mia stopped with her hand on the car door. No. You have a relationship with a version of me who believed your lies, that Mia doesn't exist anymore. She got into the car and drove out of the parking lot, leaving Ethan standing alone among the luxury cars, watching the only thing that really mattered to him disappear around the corner. The next day, Mia walked into Parker Enterprises for the last time. She had spent the entire night crying, and her eyes were red and swollen. Rachel found her at her desk, packing up her things. Mia, are you all right? I heard there was some problem yesterday. I'm handing in my resignation, Mia said, holding out an envelope. But why? You're our best assistant. Mia looked around the office, at the colleagues she had grown to like, at the desk where she had been happy. I just can't anymore. I'm sorry. She picked up the box with her belongings and left without looking back. On the 30th floor, Ethan was standing at the window of his office, watching the movement on the street below. James came in with reports, but he didn't even turn around. Sir, the meeting with the Japanese has been rescheduled for. James, have you ever truly been in love? Sir? Forget it, Ethan murmured. Cancel all meetings for today. The door opened, and Isabella walked in, wearing a smile of false concern. Ethan, dear, I heard there was a little incident yesterday. How are you? Ethan turned, and Isabella almost stepped back when she saw the expression on his face. You knew, didn't you? Knew what? That she would find out. You investigated, discovered my disguise. And, Ethan, I don't know what you're talking about. Isabella lied smoothly, but maybe it was for the best. Now you can focus on someone from your own social circle. Ethan looked at her with disgust. Get out of my office. Ethan, get out. Isabella left quickly, but she was smiling. Her plan had worked perfectly. Meanwhile, in the small apartment, Mia was lying on the couch, hugging a pillow and sobbing. Ava was sitting on the floor next to her, handing her tissues. Mia, maybe he really does love you. How would I know? Mia cried. How can I know what was real and what was a lie? He made me feel special, Ava. He made me believe that someone like him could care about someone like me. But it was all fake. Maybe it wasn't. It was, Mia sighed, exhausted. And the worst part is, I really did fall in love with him with the Ethan he pretended to be. And now I don't know if that man ever existed or if it was just a fantasy. She curled up on the couch, closing her eyes, trying to erase the memories of every smile, every kiss, every moment that now felt like a carefully built lie. A few days later, Mia was sitting in an uncomfortable chair in a room that looked more like a storage closet than an office, waiting for her 5th job interview that week. The place smelled like stale coffee and disinfectant, a combination that was becoming all too familiar. Mia Lopez, called a short woman in her 50s, glasses hanging from a gold chain. That's me. Mia jumped up so quickly she almost knocked the chair over. I'm Carla, owner of Sunshine Marketing. A small company, but with a big heart, the woman said, shaking Mia's hand with surprising strength. I saw your resume. Experience at Parker Enterprises. Impressive. Mia's chest tightened, just hearing the name. Yes, it was. An interesting experience. Why did you leave? Big company, good salary. Let's say I had philosophical differences with management, Mia answered diplomatically. Ah, I get it. Bad boss. Something like that, Mia murmured. Well, here you'll make $2,000 a month. No full health plan, no meal allowance. Carla smiled, but no bad boss either. Just me, and I'm only half crazy. Mia laughed for the first time in days. I'll take it. Great. You start Monday. And Mia? Carla winked. Here. No one pretends to be someone they're not. We're all just honest poor folks. While Mia was restarting her professional life at a wobbly wooden desk with a computer that took 5 minutes to turn on, Ethan was turning Parker Enterprises into the most depressing place in Miami. Sir, James walked into the office carefully, as if handling a wounded animal. The monthly reports, Ethan was staring out the window, wearing a wrinkled suit, messy hair, and holding a cup of coffee that had gone cold hours ago. Sir, James, do you think I'm a horrible person? Sir? A simple question. Ami horrible. James hesitated. In the last few days, Ethan had canceled 3 important meetings, rejected $2 million contracts, and spent hours staring at his phone as if waiting for it to ring on its own. You are going through a hard time. That doesn't answer my question. Sir, you're my boss. I can't say you're horrible. And if I weren't your boss? James looked at Ethan unshaven, red-eyed, radiating a sadness that had employees whispering in the hallways. If you weren't my boss, I'd say you look like someone who lost something very important and doesn't know how to get it back. Ethan finally turned around. Sharp, James. Very sharp. That same afternoon, Isabella showed up at Ethan's office, wearing a dress that probably cost more than Mia's annual salary at Sunshine Marketing. Ethan, darling, you look terrible. Thank you, Isabella. Very comforting. That's why I'm here. She sat down in the chair across from his desk. I organized a dinner at the club on Saturday. Interesting people, wonderful food. I'm not in the mood to socialize. Exactly why you need to. You can't hide here forever because of a secretary. Ethan gave her a look that made Isabella pull back slightly. Her name is Mia. Of course, darling. Mia. But let's be practical. Isabella leaned forward. You're Ethan Parker. You can have any woman in Miami. Why torture yourself over someone who clearly doesn't understand your world? Maybe that's exactly why she was special. Was. Past tense. Now you need to move on, Ethan. Fine, a dinner. But only because you won't leave me alone until I agree. Perfect. Isabella smiled triumphantly. Meanwhile, Mia was at her new desk at Sunshine Marketing, creating a campaign for a cupcake shop. When Ava called, Mia, you need to get out of that apartment on weekends. I'm fine here, thanks. You're turning into a hermit. Yesterday, you talked to the television. I was disagreeing with the news. That's different. Mia, maybe you should give Ethan a second chance. Mia stopped typing. Ava, listen, I know he lied, but maybe he really loved you and just didn't know how to tell the truth. He had plenty of chances to tell me. What if he was afraid? What if he's been used for his money so many times that he's become paranoid? Mia looked at her computer screen, where there was a picture of a smiling cupcake. It doesn't matter anymore. Yes, it does. You're miserable. He probably is, too. How do you know? Because when two people truly love each other and they split, both are miserable. On Monday, Mia arrived at work and found a huge bouquet of daisies on her desk. Daisies were her favorite flowers, something she had mentioned casually to Ethan during one of their outings. Looks like someone has a secret admirer, Carla sang. Showing up with a coffee. Mia looked for a card, but there wasn't one. Probably a delivery mistake, she murmured, but kept the flowers anyway. On Tuesday, sunflowers arrived. On Wednesday, yellow tulips, always without a card. Always flowers she loved. Mia, Carla said on Thursday, glancing at the office that was starting to look like a flower shop. Either you have the most persistent admirer in the world, or someone's trying to turn our company into a greenhouse. Mia, I think I know who it is. And are you going to do something about it? I'll pretend I'm not receiving them. Ah, the ostrich strategy. Classic. Meanwhile, Ethan was in his office, calling the same flower shop every morning. Good morning. Is this Flowers and Love? I'd like to send another bouquet to Mr. Parker, the clerk said. You've already sent flowers every day this week. The recipient hasn't called to thank you even once. I know. Maybe you should try a different approach. Maybe I should. But for now, keep sending the flowers. As you wish, sir. Ethan hung up and looked at his phone. He had dialed Mia's number 47 times in the past 3 weeks, but never had the courage to complete the call. On Friday, Mia was leaving work when she saw a bouquet of white roses on the bench outside the building. There was a simple note. I'm sorry. She looked around, half expecting to see Ethan hiding behind a car, but the street was empty. Idiot, she muttered, but picked up the flowers anyway. At home, Ava found Mia in the kitchen, arranging the flowers in several improvised vases. Wow, looks like he married a gardener. He's been sending flowers every day. And you're keeping all of them? They're pretty. It would be a waste to throw them out. Mia, he's trying to apologize with flowers. What a male solution. It's a start. Mia looked at the flowers spread around the kitchen. For a moment, she almost smiled, remembering how proud Ethan had been when he found out she loved daisies. 3 weeks, Ava. 3 weeks of flowers and not a single word. If he really wants to apologize, he should come talk to me like an adult. And if he does? Mia paused, holding a white rose. I don't know. I really don't know. That night, both were awake. Ethan in his luxurious apartment, staring at his phone and wondering if he should call. Mia in her modest apartment, staring at the flowers and wondering if she should forgive. Neither had the courage, and another sleepless night went by with 2 stubborn hearts beating alone in opposite corners of the same city. Isabella was sitting in the most expensive cafe in Miami, stirring her imported jasmine tea delicately, when her friend Natalie rushed in, looking like she had fresh gossip. Isabella, you won't believe where I'm working now. Where, darling? Isabella pretended to be interested, though she was more concerned about not smudging her lipstick. Sunshine Marketing, that ridiculous little company downtown. And guess who works there? Isabella almost dropped her cup. Don't tell me it's that little employee who was clinging to Ethan at the gala. Mia, something. A malicious smile spread across Isabella's face. Sometimes the universe conspired in her favor. How interesting, Natalie. What kind of person is she at work? Oh, everybody loves her. Efficient, friendly, funny, kind of annoying. Actually, Isabella tapped her fingers on the table. You know, Natalie, I've heard some rumors about this, Mia. Very troubling things. What kind of rumors? Isabella leaned forward as if she were about to share a state secret. Well, let's just say she has a habit of getting close to rich men with hidden intentions. A true gold digger. Really, my dear, I have very reliable sources. She even tried to blackmail poor Ethan after he broke up with her. Natalie's eyes widened. What a scandal. And here I was thinking she was such a sweet girl. People like that are experts at fooling others. Isabella sighed dramatically. I feel so sorry for Ethan. He's so generous, so trusting. It makes him vulnerable to schemers like this, Mia. On Monday, Mia arrived at work humming softly, carrying a coffee and a blueberry muffin she had bought at the corner bakery. The weekend had been calm, and she was starting to feel like maybe she could move on. Good morning, everyone, she greeted cheerfully, but something was off. Conversation stopped when she walked in, and her co-workers avoided eye contact. Good morning, Mia, Diego from design replied. But without his usual smile, is everything all right? Mia asked. You all seem kind of strange. We're fine, said Elena from accounting, but she was clearly uncomfortable. Mia shrugged and went to her desk. Maybe it was just too much Monday for everyone. But during the day, things got stranger. Natalie, who was usually friendly, walked past Mia as if she were invisible. Other colleagues whispered when she passed by. What kind of paranoia is this? Mia muttered, trying to focus on her work. On Wednesday, Carla called Mia into her office for a talk. Mia, sit down. I need to tell you something serious. The grave tone made Mia's stomach sink. Did something happen, Carla? Unfortunately, yes. 3 of our biggest clients canceled their contracts this week. What? Why? Carla looked uncomfortably. They mentioned rumors about one of our employees having a questionable history with personal relationships. Mia's jaw dropped. Questionable history? What story is this? Mia, I don't believe it. But they're worried about the company's reputation. They mentioned blackmail. Inappropriate behavior. Blackmail? Mia jumped out of her chair so fast it almost tipped over. Carla, I have never blackmailed anyone in my life. I barely even know how blackmail works. I know, dear, but the clients are worried. And without them, you're firing me, Mia said, her voice sounding more like a statement than a question. I don't have a choice. The company can't survive without those contracts. Mia felt her legs weaken. Carla, I swear on my grandmother's memory, I never did any of this. Someone is lying about me. I believe you, Mia, but that doesn't change the situation. 2 hours later, Mia was once again carrying a box with her belongings, walking through the streets of Miami in complete shock. Blackmail, she said to herself. I'm the one who once gave back the wrong change at the cafe. How could anyone think I'm a blackmailer? In the following days, Mia discovered the rumors had spread like wildfire. Every job interview ended with suspicious looks and, we'll be in touch. Nobody wants to hire me, Mia said, slumped on the couch with a tub of ice cream. It's like I have a sign on my forehead that says, professional con artist. That's way too specific to be a coincidence, Ava said, frowning. Someone is doing this on purpose. But who? I'm the most harmless person in the world. At most, someone could accuse me of singing too loudly in the shower. While Mia tried to figure out what was happening to her life, Ethan was in his office, listening to the strangest report he had ever received. Sir, James said, clearly uncomfortable, there are some rumors going around about Miss Mia. What kind of rumors? Well, about her being a gold digger and about an attempt at blackmail. Ethan was silent for a long moment. James, have you ever seen Mia in person? A few times, sir. Does she strike you as the type of person who would blackmail someone? James thought of the friendly young woman who greeted everyone in the hallways and always thanked him when he held the elevator. Honestly, no, sir. She barely manages to ask for a discount at the cafeteria. Exactly. Something's wrong here. Ethan picked up the phone and called the best private investigator in Miami. Michael, I need you to investigate the origin of some rumors, and I want fast results. 3 days later, Michael was back in Ethan's office with a report that made the CEO see red. Mr. Parker, all the rumors trace back to a single source. Isabella Thornton orchestrated a systematic smear campaign against Mia Lopez. Prove it. I have recordings of conversations, phone records, and 3 witnesses willing to confirm that Isabella offered money to spread the lies. Ethan slammed the table. Sir, what do you want me to do with this information? Nothing for now. I'll handle it myself. The next night, Ethan arranged to meet Isabella at the most exclusive restaurant in town. She arrived radiant, wearing a dress that probably cost more than most people made in 6 months. Ethan, What a delightful surprise. You finally decided to forget that, Isabella. Ethan cut her off, his voice dangerously calm. I need to congratulate you, congratulatemi, for your creativity. Blackmail, gold digging, you really outdid yourself. Isabella's smile faltered. I don't know what you're talking about. Ethan placed the investigator's report on the table. I have recordings, Isabella. Your own words. Isabella opened the folder and went pale when she saw the bank transfers in her own name. Ethan, I can explain. No need. It's all here. And now I'll give you a choice. You stop this sick obsession with Mia right now, or I hand everything over to the police and the press. You wouldn't dare. Want to test me? Ethan stood up. Isabella, I always thought you were just spoiled and self-centered. I didn't know you were a criminal, too. She doesn't deserve you. And you deserve me even less. Get out of my office. And, Isabella, if I find out you've done anything else to Mia, there won't be a single place in Miami where you can hide from the consequences. Isabella slammed the door on her way out, but Ethan knew she wouldn't dare try anything again. 2 days later, Mia received a letter delivered by a courier. She recognized the handwriting right away. Mia, I know I have no right to write to you, but I need you to know the truth about the attacks on your company. Isabella planned everything. The rumors, your dismissal, the computer attack. I have proof of it all. I'm not telling you this to look like a hero. I'm telling you because you deserve to know someone was trying to destroy your life, and that this person was stopped. I've always loved you, Mia. Since the first day at the cafe, I lied about who I was because I was afraid you'd only see me as a rich, distant CEO. I wanted you to know me as a person before you knew my bank account. Was that selfish? Yes. Was it wrong? Completely. But it was never because I didn't respect you. It was because I respected you too much to risk you wanting me for the wrong reasons. I'm not asking for forgiveness, but I hope you know you were the only person who ever made me feel like a regular human being and not just Ethan Parker. With love and regret, Ethan. Mia read the letter 3 times, sitting on the office floor after everyone had left. Ava, she called her friend. I need to talk to someone. What happened? I found out who was sabotaging my life, and I found out Ethan helped me, and now... Mia looked out the office window, watching the lights of Miami come on. Now I think I need to stop being so proud and admit I still have feelings for him. Mia, he made mistakes, but so did I. Maybe it's time we talked like adults. For the first time in months, Mia smiled when she thought about Ethan. Maybe some people really did deserve a second chance. Mia stood in front of the bathroom mirror at the Fontainebleau Hotel, trying for the 5th time to fix her hair so it didn't look like she had been attacked by a fan. Ava, I shouldn't have come, she said on speakerphone while wrestling with her mascara. What a crazy idea to accept this nomination. Mia, you were nominated as Young Businesswoman of the Year in Miami. That's amazing. What if I trip on stage? What if I forget what to say? What if... Mia stopped, looking at herself in the mirror. What if Ethan is there? I know. But what if he is? I don't know if I'm ready to see him in person. You look beautiful. You're successful. And you deserve to be at this event. Now, stop overthinking and go shine. Mia took a deep breath, adjusted the navy blue dress she had bought just for the occasion, and walked out of the bathroom with determination. The event hall was packed with Miami's business elite. Mia recognized a few people from TV and business magazines, which made her feel like a well-dressed imposter. Mia Lopez, an elegant woman, approached her. I'm Linda Williams from the event organization. Congratulations on your nomination. Thank you. I still can't believe I'm here. Your story is inspiring. From waitress to successful entrepreneur in less than a year. Impressive. Mia smiled, trying to look confident, but inside she was calculating every possible escape route to leave, unnoticed. On the other side of the room, Ethan had arrived quietly and positioned himself behind a column where he could see the stage without being easily spotted. He wore a simple dark suit, very different from the designer suits he usually wore to events like this. Mr. Parker. James appeared beside him. I didn't know you were coming to the event. Last-minute decision, Ethan murmured without taking his eyes off Mia, who was chatting cheerfully with other guests. How is she? Radiant, sir, and clearly nervous. I still know her well. Ethan smiled sadly. The ceremony began with the hosts making jokes that only half the audience understood. Mia was sitting in the 3rd row, nervously fiddling with her bracelet and whispering what sounded like calming mantras to herself. And now, the host announced, the category everyone has been waiting for, Young Businesswoman of the Year. Mia felt her stomach do a triple flip. The nominees are Sarah Chen from the tech startup Foodie app, Maria Santos from the women's gym chain Power Woman, and Mia Lopez from Mia Marketing Solutions. Polite applause filled the room. Mia waved timidly, trying not to throw up from nerves, and the winner is... The host opened the envelope with theatrical slowness that tested everyone's patience. Mia Lopez. For a second, Mia couldn't process it. Then she heard her name echo through the hall and felt Linda nudging her arm. Go on, dear. You won. Mia staggered to her feet, still in shock, and walked to the stage as if she were dreaming. She took the trophy, a crystal piece, heavier than she expected, and stood at the microphone. Wow, she began, and the audience laughed. Sorry, I didn't prepare a speech because I didn't think I would win. More laughter. A year ago, I was serving coffee and being attacked by mutant cockroaches, Mia said, and the audience burst into laughter. Today, I'm here holding this beautiful trophy that probably costs more than my first car. Ethan smiled, remembering the cockroach incident. I want to thank everyone who believed in me, especially when I didn't believe in myself. To my team, who works with me like we're one crazy family. To my clients, who trust a girl who, until last month, didn't even know how to issue an invoice properly. The audience was charmed by her honesty. But most of all, Mia paused, looking at the crowd. I want to talk about something I've learned this past year about betrayal, forgiveness, and second chances. Ethan leaned closer to the column, paying full attention. I found out that sometimes people hurt us not because they're bad, but because they're afraid. Afraid of being rejected. Afraid of not being loved for who they really are. And I learned that forgiving is not forgetting what happened. Forgiving is choosing to love despite what happened. A respectful silence filled the room. So, if anyone here has ever made mistakes, Mia looked directly toward where Ethan was, as if she could sense him. Know that it's never too late to sincerely apologize, and for those who were hurt, know that holding on to resentment only hurts the one holding it. Ethan felt his eyes fill with tears. Thank you, Miami. You're amazing. Mia lifted the trophy and left the stage to enthusiastic applause. Backstage, Mia leaned against the wall, trying to process what had just happened, when she heard a familiar voice. Beautiful speech. She turned, and there was Ethan, hands in his pockets, a nervous smile on his face. Ethan? She whispered. Hi, Mia. They looked at each other for what felt like hours. Did you hear the speech? Mia asked. Every word. And I got the message. What message? That maybe you're willing to give me a second chance. Mia sighed. Ethan, we need to talk. Really talk. No lies. No disguises. You're right, Mia. He stopped, carefully choosing his words. I ruined everything. I lied because I was afraid you'd want me for my money. But in the process, I ended up not giving you the chance to truly know me, and I was too proud to try to understand your reasons, Mia admitted. I should have talked to you instead of running away. You had every right to be hurt, and you had every right to be afraid. I've seen the kind of people who approach you out of interest. Ethan stepped closer. Mia, I miss you every day. I miss our conversations, your funny remarks about my pretentious emails, the way you made me feel like a normal person. I miss you too, Mia confessed. The Ethan who carried boxes and ate hot dogs with me, he still exists. In fact, he only exists when I'm with you. Mia looked down at the trophy in her hands. If we're going to try again, it has to be different. Total honesty. I promise. And slow. No more surprises like finding out my boyfriend owns the company I work for. Ethan laughed. Fair enough. Can I start by taking you to dinner? Somewhere simple, where I can just be Ethan. You can, Mia smiled, but only if you promise me one thing. Anything. If you lie about anything, no matter how small, I'll throw this trophy at your head. I accept the terms. At that moment, a photographer appeared out of nowhere. Mia, can you pose with the award for? He stopped when he saw Ethan. Mr. Parker. What a surprise. The flash went off before either of them could react. Great, Mia muttered. Tomorrow we'll be in every newspaper. With the headline, Billionaire CEO and Young Entrepreneur, Miami's New Couple, Ethan suggested, Does that bother you? After months of hiding my feelings, Ethan took her hand. I'm ready to admit publicly that I'm in love with the most amazing woman in Miami. Mia blushed. In that case, Mr. Parker, I accept the dinner invitation. And for the first time in months, they both smiled for real. 6 months after the entrepreneurs' event, Mia was sitting at their favorite Italian restaurant, the same small place where they had their first date. Ethan was strangely nervous, fiddling with the napkin and dropping a fork on the floor. "Ethan, are you okay?" Mia asked, laughing. "You look like you swallowed a live bird." "I'm fine," he answered way too loudly, making other customers turn to look perfectly normal. "Why wouldn't I be?" Mia narrowed her eyes. "Because you just put salt in your wine and sugar on your salad." Ethan looked at his plate and realized the culinary disaster he had created. "Mia." He suddenly stood up, almost knocking over the chair. "I need to tell you something." "Oh my God, you're breaking up with me." Mia's eyes widened. "I knew it. I'm tired of pretending I like opera." "No." Ethan laughed nervously. "It's the opposite." He got down on one knee right there in the middle of the restaurant, pulling a small box from his pocket. The whole restaurant stopped to watch. "Mia Lopez," Ethan said, his voice trembling, "you changed my life. You taught me that being rich means nothing if you don't have someone real to share it with. I want to build a real life with you. A true life with arguments about who forgot to buy milk and fights over which movie to watch on Sunday." Mia was speechless. "Will you marry me?" He opened the box, revealing a delicate, simple ring. "Nothing flashy." "Ethan Parker," Mia said, tears in her eyes. "You're asking me to marry you in the middle of a cheap Italian restaurant with an orchestra of forks clattering on plates as the soundtrack." "I am. It's the most perfect thing you could have done." She smiled. "Yes." The restaurant exploded in applause. The owner appeared with a bottle of house champagne, which was clearly just bought from the corner store, and even the cook came out to congratulate the couple. "But, Ethan," Mia said once the excitement had calmed down, "no giant wedding with 500 guests. I don't even know." "Okay, what do you want?" "Your backyard, family, close friends, and a party that feels like a crazy family gathering." "Perfect," Ethan smiled. "Exactly what I wanted." 3 months later, Ethan's mansion garden was decorated with simple lights and wildflowers. Mia had insisted on doing part of the decoration herself, which resulted in flower arrangements that looked like they were made by an excited child, but had a unique charm. "Mia, are you sure about this dress?" Ava asked, helping her get ready. "There's still time to change into something more princess-like." "Ava, this dress is perfect." Mia looked at herself in the mirror. It was simple, elegant, and made her look beautiful without seeming like a costume. "I don't want to look like a wedding cake doll." In the garden, Ethan was visibly nervous, fixing his tie for the 10th time. "Mr. Parker," James said, "you need to relax. You look like you're about to faint. What if she changes her mind? What if she realizes she could do better?" "Sir, Miss Mia loves you. Stop overthinking." The music started, and Mia appeared, accompanied by Ava since she had no father to walk her down the aisle. Ethan saw her, and all his worries disappeared. "Wow," he whispered. The officiant, a friendly Pastor Mia had met at the neighborhood church, began the ceremony. "Dear friends, we are here to celebrate the love between Mia and Ethan, who met in a rather, let's say, unusual way." Laughter rippled through the small crowd. "Ethan, would you like to say your vows?" Ethan took a deep breath. "Mia, when I met you, you were literally running away from a cockroach, and I fell in love at that very moment, with someone brave enough to jump into a stranger's arms. You taught me that true love isn't about impressing, it's about being accepted. I promise to love you on the days you wake up beautiful, and on the days you look like you fought with a blender. I promise to be honest, even when the truth is that I ate the last slice of pizza that was yours." Mia laughed, tears in her eyes. "Mia," said the pastor, "your turn." "Ethan." Mia wiped her tears. "You taught me that second chances exist for those who have the courage to truly ask for forgiveness. I promise to love you both when you're the powerful CEO and when you're Ethan, who gets scared of tiny cockroaches. And I promise never to run away again without talking first. If anyone has any objection to this union..." The pastor began. A voice came from the back of the garden. "I do." Everyone turned, tense. It was Isabella, dressed more simply than usual for her. Ethan braced for drama, but Isabella raised her hands. "I object only to the fact that it took this long to happen," she said with a genuine smile. "Mia, Ethan, I want to apologize for everything. I did terrible things out of jealousy and immaturity." Mia and Ethan looked at each other, surprised. "I've spent these months in therapy and doing volunteer work, trying to become a better person. You both deserve all the happiness in the world." Isabella walked closer and handed them a small gift. "A toaster," she said, smiling, "for the real life you're about to build together." Mia laughed and hugged Isabella. "Thank you, truly." The rest of the ceremony was perfect. The Parker Enterprises staff showed up in full force, celebrating as if it were a family wedding. A year later, Mia was at the Mia Marketing Solutions office, now officially partnered with Parker Enterprises, creating a small business incubator, when she felt a familiar pain. "Ethan!" she shouted. He came running from the next room. "What is it? Acid attack? Earthquake? Alien invasion? Contraction," Mia said calmly. Ethan turned pale. "Contraction? Now. But the baby isn't due until next week." "Apparently, the baby didn't get the memo," Mia laughed, grabbing her hospital bag. On the way to the hospital, Ethan drove like he was running from the police, calling everyone he knew. "James, cancel everything. The baby's coming." "No. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl yet." "Call the doctor." "No. Call all the doctors." "Ethan, breathe," said Mia, calmer than her husband. "Women have been having babies for thousands of years, but none of them were my wife." 12 hours later, Mia was holding a perfect baby girl in her arms, while Ethan cried more than the child. "She's perfect," Mia whispered. "Just like her mother," Ethan said, kissing his wife's forehead. 2 years later, little Lily was playing in the garden when she started yelling, "Mommy, there's a bug." Mia ran outside and saw a little cockroach walking in the grass. Lily was pointing at it, but without fear. "It's not dangerous, sweetheart," said Mia, laughing. "Actually, it was a cockroach like this that brought Mommy and Daddy together." Ethan came out, picked Lily up, and looked at the cockroach. "You know what?" he said, hugging Mia with his free arm. "It was the best scare of my life." "Why?" "Because it led me to you, and to this," he pointed to the house, to Lily, to the life they had built together. "The best love I've ever known." Mia kissed him while Lily laughed, and the cockroach calmly went on its way. Sometimes, the best happy endings start in the most unexpected places, even in a stranger's arms, running from a cockroach.